Welcome back to my kitchen, y'all. Today we are gonna make some sweet, soft, and chewy sugar cookies. I cannot wait for you guys to try out this recipe alongside me. So to get started, our ingredients are 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking soda, half teaspoon baking powder, half teaspoon salt, 1 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature, 1 cup and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, 1 large egg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 1/4 cup of sugar for rolling. So to start this recipe, we are going to take our butter and we are going to cream this with our white sugar. It's going to be your 1 cup and 2 tablespoons of white sugar, and then your brown sugar. Creaming is such a very important part of a cookie recipe. With this, it is going to start off a little bit clumpy. I know it's a little hard to see in the sped up video, but what you will be able to notice is that the butter and the sugars are going to come together. It will start to get a little bit more smooth and silky. It won't be as crumbly as it was when you first started your blender. Throughout this process, it is going to be very important that you are scraping down the sides of your bowl, as well as scraping your beater blade or blades. And this is really to make sure that everything has an opportunity to be incorporated with one another. You don't want there to be, any potential areas where it might be a little bit gritty just because those ingredients aren't mixing within your butter and sugar. As you continue to go through this process, what you will see is that the color is going to change and your cream mixture is actually going to get a little bit fluffy. So that's kind of, one way to kind of, tell how far you are in the creaming process. While we are still allowing our mixer to do its thing and cream together our butter and sugar, we are going to take our flour, our baking soda, baking powder, and our salt, and we're going to combine those with one another. Ultimately, the goal here is to give it a good mix. Oftentimes you may see people with like a sifter. Since it's a cookie, it doesn't require any sifting like you would with a cake, but this step does make sure that you don't accidentally have a clump of salt or a clump of baking powder or baking soda that is just in your cookies that can create a very off-putting taste. So what we want to do is just very gently mix these together to help incorporate these ingredients with one another. I'm really big on a clean workspace being a happy workspace, so throughout this process I do go a couple of times and I clean my work area just to make things easier for me in the long run. Alright, y'all, so we have another pit stop here, and this is really just to, again, scrape down the sides of your bowl, as well as, just making sure that your ingredients have that opportunity to be incorporated with one another. So now it is time to add some wet ingredients. For this cookie dough, it just requires 1 single egg. So we're going to go ahead and crack that into a separate bowl to make sure that there are no eggshells, because nobody likes a crunchy cookie. Once you add your egg to the mixer, you're gonna give that an opportunity to just get incorporated into your butter and sugar mixture. Now that our egg is nice and incorporated, we are going to scrape the middle. I think that that's very important. If you have a KitchenAid or any other type of stand mixer, sometimes that bottom middle section of your bowl, egg or other ingredients can get trapped down there. So it's definitely very important to make sure that you do scrape that middle section of your bowl. Now we will go ahead and toss in our vanilla, and again turn up our mixer just a little bit to give it an opportunity to get incorporated, and again scraping down those sides. I don't think I can reinforce this enough, how important it is to make sure that you are scraping periodically. So I do like to use a shield when I'm using my stand mixer, that way I don't get that flour plume that happens when you add dry ingredients while your mixer is on. So we're just gonna take our time to slowly add in our flour into our cookie batter for us. And once we have the opportunity to get all of that flour incorporated, you are going to be left with a slightly soft cookie dough. It's not going to be as firm or hard as it would be with like a chocolate chip cookie, but this is the consistency that you're going for. And as you'll see there, it's not super soft to where it's kind of running, you know, away from you, but it is, again, just a softer hand feel, if you will, in terms of the dough. So it kind of reminds me of like kinetic sand. It's kind of what it feels like. Now that we have scraped down our spatula, scraped down our beater blade to get all of that beautiful cookie dough, we are going to get ready to bake these bad boys. So make sure that your oven is set to 350. Make sure I always start my preheating before I start making my cookies. And although I'm using a non-stick pan, I do like to use just a little bit of pan with flour. I will be taking my small cookie scoop and scooping 2 scoops of my sugar cookie mix. And then we are going to roll this in our hand. You get to play with your food just a little bit before putting that ball into your sugar to make sure that your sugar cookie is fully coated. You are going to continue this step for however many cookies you are going to place on your cookie sheet. I was making a small batch of cookies, so I did not roll and bake all of my dough. However, what I do is for my leftover dough, I like to freeze it. That way I have pre-made cookie dough whenever I have a sweet craving. Once your timer goes off for your cookies, you are going to want to take these out of the oven, place them on your stove for about 5 minutes to cool on your cookie sheet before you transfer them over to a cooling rack to cool for another 10 minutes. This is a very important step to make sure that your cookies don't crack. Guys, these do fall just a little bit, but they are so soft and fluffy and chewy. They're amazing. So I want to thank you guys so very much for watching. I loved having you in my kitchen. As always, please take a moment to like, to comment, and to subscribe. Next time in the kitchen, we are making steak and salad that is so tender, it is going to melt in your mouth. See you soon.